So I'm in St. Albans, Queens right now, a place that helped redefine what Black middle class looks like in New York City. But what you might not know is that before this became a hub of Black pride, wealth, and legacy, this was a farmland and white railroad suburb. In 1898, the Long Island Railroad that you see here was established, and it began shaping St. Albans into what it is now, a deeply residential area made for commuting. And I'm not gonna lie, I love to see a Black neighborhood being kept up and clean, especially in Queens because they usually are. But this, y'all gotta clean this up. Like, what is going on here? Garbage all over the floor. We got bikes and stuff. Like, no. The city also needs to manicure this better. Like, clean this up, shape this up. I don't know, but it's covering the legends' faces and it's not giving. So the mural that I was just standing in front of across the street, guys, there actually used to be a mural on both sides, but they actually painted over it because they love to erase our history. So right behind me is J. Foster Phillips Funeral Home, founded in 1929 by J. Foster Phillips. And this means that this funeral home is nearly a century old. My great-grandfather had his funeral here in 1960. And this might look like another VA facility, but this actually holds deep history. During World War II, this was St. Albans Naval Hospital, opened in 1943 to treat thousands of wounded soldiers, especially Black servicemen who were often segregated in military care. Part of the grounds became Roy Wilkins Park in the early 80s. And here I am at Roy Wilkins Park, named after the legendary civil rights leader who once headed the NAACP. But right here during World War II, this wasn't a park. It was a part of St. Albans Naval Hospital. This space right here was filled with rows of wooden barracks that housed nearly 1,000 wounded servicemen. After the war, these temporary huts were torn down, and by 1977, it was repurposed as a public green space like you see now. Today, this space is for community, relaxation, and joy. Just like St. Albans itself, it holds many layers. Like many neighborhoods, racial confidence and redlining kept Black families out. In fact, it wasn't until 1948, after the landmark Supreme Court case Shelley versus Kramer, that restrictive covenants were ruled unenforceable, opening the doors for Black families like mine to move in. Addersley Park, right next door, is one of the first places where Black professionals started breaking through those barriers, and this caused a ripple effect across St. Albans. And these homes are actually conjoined together. As you can see, there is no separation. They are Tudor style, colonial style, and ranch style homes, and you could actually still see that architecture today. My grandfather actually grew up in that home over there on this exact block, and he was born and raised in St. Albans, Queens. My great-grandfather owned gas stations in the area. This was a really close-knit community where everybody knew everybody. And then came the wave of Caribbean immigrants from Jamaica, Trinidad, Haiti, and Guyana, bringing more flavor and spice. They opened churches, beauty salons, food spots, and family-run businesses, starting in the late 1960s and accelerating through the 70s and 80s. After immigrant reforms like the 1965 Hart-Celler Act opened new doors. Behind all the houses, you'll see these alleys, and this is where everyone's garages are. The garbage truck actually used to come down here to pick up the garbage, and these back alleys used to get flooded, and it used to turn into a big sheet of ice in the winter. So right now, I'm sitting in front of the rock known as Liberty Rock to some, and if you're from South Queens, you already know